purchasing any piece on my site, please contact me by email, and I will definitely get back to you. And I'd like to go here and start talking about this fella here, Peter Combs. He's a man that may or may not know the truth of what he's doing. I just have to move forward and continue to try to inform collectors that there are real problems in the marketplace, especially when it comes to those who are in the business of advising other collectors. He put a really slanderous post on his forum page about me and my website, and he's put up a lot of videos attacking me, and so I responded, and he claims to be an expert in ancient and archaic bronze, and I explained to Peter Combs that on his forum that cuprate and malachite corrosion can't be faked. I posted on his forum close-up photos of the corrosion of the fire-gilded copper bands on my Northern Sung Dynasty Ru Ware tribute wares, and Peter Combs said it was fake. And then he used his own bronze ding below. He posted photos of it, which I copied, and Peter Combs said the bronze ding was a fake, and it was made around 2000, 2005, and the patina was fake, and he claimed he could reproduce this patina easily, and Combs has been using this bronze below here for years, and it's authentic, and you can easily see this by by trioid malachite in the last close-up photo. It takes a lot of guile to deceive collectors and tell them their bronzes are fake. And I'm going to click on this and open it up, and you can see all these little areas where the malachite spheres are, and they're all basically all over this piece. And now this next picture is his close-up of his surface, and this shows the botryoid malachite. It's there, and it can't be faked. And I'll show you that why it can't be faked in a second here. And this is the bronze, the complete bronze. And there's another close-up of the patina, and you can see all these spots where the malachite is growing into these spheres. And then move down here, and he tried to say that it's the same as what appears on water pipes, and I told him it's not, and I told him it could crumble in his hands, and Peter Combs claims it's the same cuprate and malachite crystals as on the ancient bronze thing that he claims is fake, and it is authentic. This deceives collectors to believe he's an expert, and there's a lot of dealers like Peter Combs that have the guile to use this type of thing to fool collectors. And this only helps the cabal to control the market by keeping often the finest pieces out of the market. But they don't understand what a free market will do to the collecting of Chinese arts. If they finally get honest with people and open up the markets to everyone, they will see the Chinese arts collected by millions and millions of people. And that type of corrosion on a water pipe is very brittle. It will just crumble and flake in your hands. Below here is a photograph. Well, let me just read this off here. From the book Copper and Bronze in Art by David Scott, Chapter 3, page 106, Malachite in Bronze Patina. The natural transition of metal to cuprite and then to malachite is very difficult to replicate in the laboratory. In fact, most of the recipes for producing artificial patina on copper alloys, such as those compiled by Hughes and Rowe, do not result in malachite formation over cuprite layer. Consequently, the existence of this type of corrosion, supported by analytical and metallographic studies, is a good indication of the authenticity of the artifact. So he's saying that this can't be reproduced. What I'm going to show you here. Now this fella here is an expert in minerals, and he wrote, most crystals simply begin to grow using available molecules. The result in discrete crystals whose sizes depend on the available material. But malachite is different. It seldom forms discrete crystals in a good size. Instead, scientists say it developed malachite crystals split, diverging into tiny needles, packed together in a fan-like arrangement. And the fan-like molecule needles grow into a tightly bonded spheres which crowd together and bond, forming a solid mass. When the spheres stop growing and terminate, the top surface is rounded to some degree, and the term bitrioid resembles a cluster of grapes. And then he has written books, several books and videos. He's a renowned world expert on minerals. And if we go over here to this photo, and I just can show you on this coin, this is a malachite, and this is how it forms on this is Northern Song Dynasty coin, and you can see how these little circles are all malachite formations, and you can easily see them. Now this piece over here is one of the pieces, the band on the pieces I have on a tribute ware, and let me just increase the size of this, and you can see these close up. You can see the reddish cuprite. It's underneath the malachite, has to lay down, the cupright will appear first, and then the malachite will grow on top of the cupright. And you can see that clearly through these, and you can see these masses of malachite. And very easy to see. Now right here, I'm going to play this video for you from this company, Priceless Past. This is his website here. If you click on this, you can go right to his website, and this is the link that will bring you to the full video. I'm only going to show you a portion of the video, only about a minute's worth. And let me click on this and play this video.
This is the scale of it, right? Could you tell us what bubbles, right?
They look like bubbles. The technical term for them is both trioids, but that's one of the ways that malachite and azurite crystals can form, is in these little spheres or globules.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been able to find any evidence that this can be recreated in a lab. You see the small scale, this 1 millimeter scale bar at the bottom. And so when I find these things, it's a good indication that this patina is something that took a long time to create, not something that was applied or created in the lab.
Yeah, fascinating. Oh, and this one?
Same thing in azurite. These little nodules.
Other nodules, yes.
Sorry that I did not include a scale bar with that, but I would expect it to be very similar to the previous slide.
Yeah.
And when we find these things on the surface of your patina, again, it's a very good indicator.
Well, that just verify what I've been showing you, and Peter Combs, he deleted pages to hide the truth on his forum page when I was explaining things to him. He deleted some of the pages. And I put some pages up that is not on. I took screenshots of the whole conversation, pretty much the whole conversation. But I put a few pages up just to show you some of the things he deleted. And you can make your own opinion about this man, but mine is not very high. He's the seller, probably the #1 seller of low-end provincial pieces on the internet, and they're not made for imperial use. And they made tons of them. And Peter Combs has become the major auction house's cheerleading mouthpiece. He's a former auctioneer and apparently spends his time telling unsuspecting collectors that he can tell at a glance a real piece from a fake. He's all over the place. He shows photos of two pieces, both authentic, and he'll say one is fake and the other is authentic, and this really confuses collectors, but makes him look like a genius. I'm not saying people can't recognize good photos, but when you see two authentic pieces and he says one's fake, one's real, and collectors that don't know, just it really confuses them. And this guy is very dangerous if you follow his advice. Peter Combs will never tell the truth about any fine or important piece that would clash with what the major auction houses are selling. he'll just say they're all fake, just like he's done with my my website. And this keeps the major auction houses happy because they know there are many fine, important pieces in the marketplace. And Peter Combs is happy. They'll just let him go on selling all the low-end pieces, provincial pieces he can get his hands on. And they will never sell those pieces anyway because they know the truth about those pieces. But the actual truth is each artisan had a different skill level, and there were very few artisans that were masters. And this is why you often see pieces that are authentic but are not as well done because of the skill factors. And these corrupted experts will tell you it's a fake. And this is what confuses collectors. I'm not saying they're not fakes in the marketplace, but they stand out like a sore thumb. And the most are poor quality provincial pieces because they're easier to fake. Collectors must be able to discern what is a masterpiece. There are some honest people that just don't know the truth because they have often been taught by corrupt people, and they just go along with the false narrative. And there are those who know the truth but are afraid to speak up because if you don't follow their false narrative, you will be blacklisted. And this is another evil communist tactic that's come to this country. And the auction houses have been using that for years. So everybody keeps their mouth shut. But during that feed, we started to talk about jades, and he removed some of the shots that I put up. I mentioned to him that I had, over 3,500 pieces in my collection at one point, and he, made it, him and his other people, his friends that were criticizing me, I put on screenshots of some of the jades that I owned, and they were numbered from 1 to over 3,500, 3,400, and I didn't put the whole lot of them up. I just wanted to make my point, and I put up some that showed different counts, and he removed them. He removed a lot of things that I said apparently, but this is his link. You can go there and you can see on his forum page, suspected fakes copies being sold, delusional seller. That's me. And here are some of the things that I just copied and pasted on here to show you that he did not keep all the things that I talked to him about on his site. And he's going to come up with some kind of excuse, I'm sure. You must watch to the end. And it proved that I owned 3,500 pieces at one point. So down here is you can come to my website and you look down here, you can see all the information, the truth and the proof about Northern Song Dynasty Ru Ware. I put it all out now, and you can read that if you come to my website. I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and I surely hope it helps you, in your collecting. And I'll be talking to you soon because I'm going to make several more videos. And thanks again, and good luck.
Authentication, pointing out auctions that have lots of fakes and copies of them, which, as many of you know, is a prevalent problem that continues to this day. But the biggest contributor to problems with much of this and misidentification is the internet itself. And while the internet is a very useful tool for looking things up, as you know, on the homepage over at BidAmount, we have a whole section with links to museums and institutions and major auction houses where you can go and look things up and all that. And those are sort of safe areas to go and look things up. But when it comes to the internet, it's a swamp and it's a mess. And there's a ton of misinformation out there, some of it unintentionally, some of it intentionally, some of it because people just think they know, and so forth. And I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to talk about AI and what's happening there, and some really bad information that's being generated by AI, which it shouldn't be doing, but it is. And I'm going to get into that, so stick around for the AI aspect of this, because it's quite astounding, to put it mildly, about how it looks at Chinese antiques, and even when asked very specific questions for image creation and that kind of software is just off by a country mile. But one of the channels I'm going to talk to, it came to me because I've gotten many emails over the years from people about this fellow is channel Chinese masterpieces. Some of you have seen them and things, and he seems to have just an endless supply of imperial.
Okay, I want to step in here a second. I don't have an endless supply, but as far as Ru Ware, I have the largest collection of Ru Ware in the world, without a doubt. And my collection came from Emperor Huzong. Originally, this was his collection. And during the Northern Song Dynasty, he was at war with the Jin armies. And Northern Song Dynasty got overrun. And he was captured. And ended up dying in captivity. But when they captured him, they stored his collections in large wooden crates and passed it down through the centuries. And that's where my Ru Ware collection came from. And that's it. But he's going to go on here now, and I'll just step in every so often.
Porcelains and rare Sung pieces and Ru Ware and Yuan pieces and all this stuff. But he's most famous, I think he's most remembered for this video. And this was the famous video where he brought a bunch of reproductions of Ru Ware and modern jades that have been acid bathed to Bonham's to consign.
He talks about an acid bath. Is he crazy? Let me just say something. Jades cannot be acid bathed or dyed. Nephrite is a fibrous stone. It would just lay on the top. It takes a long time being buried with the expansion and contraction of the jade itself in the soil. And and slowly these minerals absorb into the jade and cause these inclusions. And a lot of people think it's easy to dye this, and that the only thing they can dye is jadeite. And jadeite, the dye will penetrate because it's not a fibrous stone. It's granular. And dye will penetrate that stone. And people don't understand that jadeite and nephrite, everybody calls them jade. And the jadeite can be dyed. But the nephrite, it would just lay on the surface at best. And it wouldn't penetrate into the stone because it's a fibrous stone and a very tough stone. And it's not a sponge. It's a very hard stone. And quality jade, you cannot scratch it with a stainless steel knife. And this video up here with this fellow from Bonham's, I just did a new video, and I show you why he got up from the table, because the truth smacked him right in the face. The last question I asked him caused him to leave. And and I show you this, and I showed the pieces that he was looking at close up, and you can see that, and you can see why he really left. And I'm going to continue here.
And obviously, if they were authentic and somebody came in with just a piece of Ru Ware, they would take it in a heartbeat. Those of you that aren't familiar with Ru Ware, it's a type of ceramic that was made during the Sung Dynasty. It's extremely limited. The current list of known examples in the entire are under 100. And in this picture, he seems to have brought in 3 or 4 pieces that would be worth 30, 40, 50, 60 million dollars if they were authentic. And he got in that legendary argument with the poor Bonham guy. The Bonham guy finally gave up and just walked out of the room. But this fellow is a true believer, and a few years ago he came over to the forum page on BidAmount and put up some things, started a discussion, and people pushed back on him.
He says, I came over to the forum page. The reason I came over there, because he put up a post, and he called me a delusional seller and this and that. So he started the post, but I went on there to show him that he's not telling the truth. And so anyway, I'm going to continue playing this. Look out for this video with this Bonham's video, the new one. You'll really appreciate that. Saying,
no, these are knockoffs and copies, and everything on his website are copies and knockoffs, as far as anybody can tell. I haven't heard of anybody yet.
See how he words things? As far as anybody can tell, everybody says, if he knew anything, he would tell you why they're knockoffs. What makes them a knockoff? He doesn't understand because he's not an expert. He's a con artist is what he is.
Finding an authentic piece on here, and he's got hundreds of them apparently, and all of them are brand new. And finally, I chimed in on the forum, which I don't often do. I like people to go there and just speak or say what they say. I believe in free speech. I don't think this guy's website should be taken down, for example, even though it's, in my opinion, very, very misleading. I don't think his YouTube channel should be taken down because it's very misleading. But people should be aware of it, and they should know how misleading things can be if you don't.
You'll see how misleading things are if you continue to follow this man, his advice, because he's way out there, but he's trying to sell his provincial pieces, and he's working on that. He knows he can't take a great piece to the auction houses because they wouldn't take it from him, and you know, this is the way it is.
Already, because some people, when they get interested in art collecting in every category, go to the internet naturally to look things up, to do research. And the problem is that you come across sites like this, which have, in everybody's opinion, I think pretty much the consensus is that these are all fakes, copies, reproductions made since probably 1990 onward. All right, and but I chimed in and told him that what was wrong with his argument about the authenticity of his pieces, and he's got a whole argument about incrustations on some pieces.
I'm not moving my fingers and incrustations. I'm talking about factual things to look for. The patinas that are authentic and they can't be faked, and that's it. But he doesn't say anything in depth. He just moves his fingers and says incrustations, and then acid bath, and it's all nonsense. And most people that know Chinese art know it's all nonsense.
And bronzes can only happen from being buried in the ground for a long time. Well, I happen to know a Yale chemist who told me any surface that you can find on a piece of metal or on a piece of porcelain caused by age can be manufactured in a laboratory within a matter of hours. He's a doctorate in chemistry, so I take his word for it.
See, that's his way out. He uses this fantasy person that told him, I'd like to see this person come down and talk to me, and we'll tape it. But this is what they do. He doesn't give any facts. He just says this chemist. So he's relying on this chemist told me. And people are buying things from this person.
Anyway, this is his site, and down here he got so upset about it he posted this, and it's slander. It's point blank slander because he didn't express it as an opinion. He's just.
It's only slander if I'm lying. That's when it's slander. The truth is not slander.
Basically calling me a liar and crony dealer and all that. And that is libel. But at any rate, or slander. I always get libel and slander mixed up. My lawyer told me when I showed a lawyer this, and he said he didn't say opinion. The guy's out of his mind. He said, you want to, you can take action against him. I'm not gonna, because he isn't worth it. But this is it. But in here, he has this theory that there's a giant. And this is untrue. This is one of these internet myths, and he's not the only person that says it. That there's a cabal by the major auction houses and museums to control the art market, so there isn't a flood of it, and the values remain high. And the only people that can sell at the major auction houses are, from important collections and all this, which is absolute poppycock nonsense. And he named Sotheby's, Christies, and Bonhams are the main controllers of the art markets and narratives throughout the world, which is absolutely untrue. They have an.
He does a pretty good job explaining what they do, but the main thing is, what they do is Sotheby's and Christies and Bonhams, they have these private sales, plus they use their close dealers that handle the highest pieces in the world, and that's how they sell pieces. Nobody knows what's going on behind the scenes. And what you see in these auction catalogs, that's only the tip of the iceberg. And that's it. So it is, you know, it's a very big business. They sell billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of this stuff. And the people that are really getting hurt are the people, the wealthiest people. So I'll continue.
Influence in it because they have smart people that work there. Many of them are academic and scholars, former people from Harvard like Mr. Mowry and things like that. You know, there are lots of academics. Billy Sargent at Bonham, who used to be the curator at the PBS Museum for many, many years. And there are lots of them out there. And they go to work for auction houses when they retire from the museum life because they love what they're doing. And over the years, they've gotten to know a lot of these guys because museums do buy at auction. And they collect from donations from people who sell at auction. It is a community, but it's not a closed community by any stretch of the imagination at all.
It's pretty closed community. These people, they work hand in hand with the museums. The museums depend on wealthy people giving them money, and it's a big scam. And until they become honest with people and open the market completely, this is going to continue, but I don't think it's going to continue too much longer because I think people are going to wise up.
You know, we've all seen the cases and read about them in the news about somebody that bought the famous yard sale bowl from the Sung Dynasty out in Long Island for $2 or $3 or $4 a number of years ago. Not that long ago, actually, in the last 10 years. And he took it to an appraisal day that Sotheby's was somehow involved with. I think it was Sotheby's, and they sold it for around $2 million. There's the famous story of the lady in France who found a Chinese vase in her closet. Sotheby's did a wonderful video about it. We did a video on it, and she put it in a shoebox, hopped on the subway, and took it over to Sotheby's when they were doing appraisal days, and brought it in and said, "I know it's Chinese, but I don't know anything about it. Is it any good?" Did they reject it? No, they didn't reject it. They jumped on it and said, This is
part of the deception. Every so often, somebody will stumble in a garage sale and find something. It's pretty interesting. I don't know who these people are, but every so often, if they're making billions and billions, so they throw back something out there to make them look honest, and this helps them promote their business because the newspapers all pick up on it, and it's just advertisement. They throw a bone out there. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if these people that they suddenly find something, they're not relatives of somebody.
fantastic, it's fabulous. There's a similar one in the Guillemets, probably, came down to her family, and the end of the story was they gave her, she ended up getting $17 million at the auction for it. So the idea that these things are being rejected from the legitimate, rejected from the market, are just ridiculous, And anyway, I pushed back on him with his ideas, and Mr. Masterpieces here. He says that I'm the cheerleader for the Cabal, and Peter Combs is a major auction house cheerleader in a mouthpiece. He's a former auctioneer and apparently spends his time telling unsuspecting collectors they can tell at a glance of a photo if a piece is real from fake. At any rate, many of you know that you could, of course, do that, and I've done it for many of you, and you know, you've done well with them, and so on. So,
if he was such an expert, he wouldn't even need to promote the pieces he's promoting. But this keeps him in business because he knows they allow him to continue selling these low-end pieces, and he talks about the auction houses, how much they sold something for. This keeps people involved, and he's a con artist. He's an absolute con artist that he has all the right talking points that they use, and they're not true. And let me just continue.
it's just a silly story, but my point is that this is one of the problems with the internet. But I'm going to get into a couple of other cases where I think it's innocent, and some of it was done for showbiz and so forth. But once the information gets out there, it's out there forever, and it's wrong. And I'm going to show you a couple of videos from a program called Ponce, and many of you are familiar with it. And they have a character that comes in and does.
Okay, that's the end of the video, the clip that I cut out because that's about me. And I figured I would just try and point out a few other things, but people that trust him, it's going to be hard to convince people that don't know. And you continue to do what you're doing, but you know, he says the people that are buying things from him or his recommendations, they're doing good. Yeah, let's see 20 years from now. They'll be lucky. They'll be lucky if they're worth 1% of what they pay. And that might be a little bit low, but they're not going to make any money. Let me put it that way. If anything, they'll lose money because people are becoming more aware of what's going on. And provincial pieces, they made billions of those pieces, and they continue to make those pieces today because they're easy to fake. So please be careful, and you're welcome to come to my website, and there's a lot of information on there if you're a serious collector. And thank you for watching the whole video.